Hello, good people of the ABA world. I'm going to try to trim the fat on this one. So, this is our chapter 12 from Murray Sidman's book on coercion called Coercion and Conscience. All right, so chapter begins with an examination of the ideas that tempt us to make decisions that conflict with moralistic choices. So, for example, accepting payment in the form of bribes or forging data to gain access to research grant awards. So the former is contrasted with the idea of taking no risks that put our financial stability or personal freedom in jeopardy by making such decisions in the first place. Sidman goes on to what I call bust up the notion of the existence of conscience. So having a good conscience or a bad conscience. A lot of us usually think about this in terms of that homunculus on each side. You know, the good one dressed in, I guess, white robes, and the bad one dressed in devilish regalia or attire. So Sidman refers to conscience as a shorthand colloquialism for the proclivity to perform moral behavior in the face of conflicting tendencies. In short, this is what we refer to as making good and making bad decisions, but through that internal voice in our head. And then conscience seems to be most useful when it comes to making choices where punishment is potentially one of those outcomes. So, in short, um, conscience comes from the notion of coercive control. So, in effect, if we experience punishing contingencies, we're likely to not make decisions that lead to punishing behaviors in the future, right? Um, Conscience is not some innate moral aptitude inherited through genes. Rather, it's the name assigned to the behavior of exercising good decision making over bad decision making. So, conscience is a social construct entirely. All right, so this is not something, according to Sidman, that just exists in the world, just like my face or my shoulders or the sun, right? This is a socially constructed notion of right and wrong. One way I thought about this, and please feel free to comment on this and your in the questions, but why why do we recycle? Right? I'm not saying whether I personally think it's good and bad, but do we make the decision to recycle based on what's going to happen in the immediate, or more so what's going to happen, as a result of these actions later on, and how society perceives how we, this generation of people that exist on the earth, made decisions to destroy the planet, right? So like, while climate change might be the real experience, what is the mo for our behavior? So more rats, great stories of rats. So, as my man Sidman likes to do, he likes to put everything in the context of experimental analysis of behavior. So, this particular example, again, we have rats fed by a lever in an operant chamber somewhere. Rat is all of a sudden punished with a shock for some behavior that has always exhibited and always been reinforced by in the past. And then all of a sudden, the the lever pressing results in some type of super aversive stimuli, and the rat experiences this a few times, and then all of a sudden says, "You know what? Like, yo, like, this is not cool. Like, you're not just gonna keep shocking me, right? Like, you keep doing this, I'm gonna have to go upside your head." But no, in reality, like, the lever pressing um, becomes in Murray Sidman's example, a shameful or reprehensible act, he anthropomorphizes this rat in this particular example, something that he doesn't often do directly in the EAB, but now he decided to go this route, which is interesting for me. So it shows me that he's jumping, he's leaping a little here, but the rat is punished, and then after a while, he creeps up to this lever, and then right before he presses it, he jumps back almost as if he was being shocked again, right? Showing that, according to Sidman, now this is not me putting this mentalism in here or any of these explanatory fictions, right? But the rat is contemplating pressing the lever to try to get this reinforcement, right? Contemplating. See, I use that mentalism there. Um, but but the rat is tempted again. Another mentalism. Sidman uses it, not me. All right. And to try to provide that analogous example here. Um, and he vacillates, wavers back and forth between touching this lever again and withdrawing. But through this example, Sidman is simply trying to show that that lever has again become an aversive warning signal, showing that punishment is is available, or this value altering effect is now in the world, and eventually that rat decides, you know what, like yo, like I'm not. It's not worth it. I'm not going to do this. Again, this is this reoccurring theme of avoidance, of punishing stimuli, learned behavior through the interaction between the rat and this rat's environment, and then changes in that environment that influences responding in the future. Um, so this is the example that he uses, and he uses this to kind of show how human conscience, or this morality dichotomy here is built, right? It's some type of aversive stimuli put forward in the world to make sure, or to show that um, these aren't the decisions that we should be making. Um, and so he reiterates this control piece, but towards the end of the chapter, that's where the argument gets a little bit more compelling to me. Where even though I did like the rat story, I always love a good rat story, uh, but this is why I think that a lot of us have enjoyed sitting in this reading, this session, is because he really focuses it on a lot on the practical application to society. He throws in a little bit of Freud here and there, um, and he makes the argument that society focuses too much on building good individual consciences with individuals in society, and they can't control everyone's access to consistent punishment or reinforcement. Right. So not all stimuli, not everybody has this aversive stimuli that happens as a result of making bad decisions. And that's key here. So, for example, why do some people consistently exercise poor moral decision making and never seem to get punished or caught? Have we as a society failed to punish them in any meaningful way? This experiment in coercive control does not seem to apply equally to everyone, and has created a double standard in society. Um, and so, and this is best illustrated by this direct quote. I try not to take any quotes directly from the book throughout this whole session. However, this one kind of rings strong for me. So this is best represented by the statement that Sidman makes. Morality is frequently a tool for maintaining the conscience of those who cannot afford to get caught breaking the law. Hmm. Morality is frequently a tool for maintaining the conscience of those who cannot afford to get caught breaking the law. That right there is a really powerful statement, right? Showing that not all of us have the same contingencies in effect for our actions. Now, you can interpret that how you want to. I know for me and my personal experiences, and how I interact with the world and the world interacts with me, because of whatever factors you want to say are out there. That statement is a very poignant and insightful statement to me. So, in an attempt to cut the fat, I'm just at that 10-minute mark. So, let's talk about some of these questions, right? So, here are my questions that I'm posing to you to answer. Why do some people who consistently exercise poor moral decision making seem to never get punished? Right? Have we as a society failed to punish them in a meaningful way? That's the question I asked before in that last slide. But here's the other one. Should we continue to build the notion of conscience to teach people the difference between making good and bad decisions? Right? Is the idea of conscience a helpful paradigm? Does this actually work? Right? So is everybody affected by this? So that's how I'm wrapping up my Sidman verses. So I hope this has been as good for you as it was for me.